In a locked laboratory drawer at Princeton University, there exists a single sheet of paper that forever altered our understanding of the human mind. It's not a groundbreaking study or a Nobel-winning formula. It's a discarded diagram from Daniel Kahneman's legendary book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. On it, scribbled in the margins by Kahneman himself, are 3 words that never made it to publication. System 3, the ghost. This wasn't an oversight. It was a deliberate omission. Because what Kahneman discovered and chose to leave unwritten threatens the very foundation of his Nobel Prize-winning work. His book reveals how we think with System 1 fast, intuitive, and System 2 slow, analytical. But today, we will unearth System 3, the silent, hidden processor that actually controls 90% of your life decisions. I will expose the 3 unspoken psychological forces that Kahneman's research hints at but never names, forces that explain why you make choices that defy all logic, why your memories are fictional edits of reality, and why your conscious mind is merely a public relations firm for decisions already made in the dark. This isn't about cognitive biases. This is about the architect of those biases. By the end of this, you will understand why everything you believe about your own thoughts is a carefully crafted illusion, and how to finally see the ghost in the machine. To understand the silence, we must first honor the revelation. Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist, did the unthinkable. He won the Nobel Prize in economics. Why? Because he proved that humans are not rational actors. We don't calculate odds, we tell stories. We don't optimize decisions, we satisfy biases. His book maps these errors with devastating clarity. The availability heuristic, loss aversion, anchoring. It's a masterpiece of diagnosis. But here is the critical unsaid truth. Kahneman mapped the symptoms of a disease he couldn't name. He showed us the chaotic output of System 1 and the lazy oversight of System 2. But he pointed to the space between them, a shadowy nexus where meaning is manufactured, where identity is enforced, where the you that you think you are is assembled in real time. Kahneman gave us the what of irrationality. The unspoken text reveals the why, and that why lies in a biological mandate far older than logic. The imperative to maintain a coherent self-story at all costs. Your brain isn't designed to find truth. It's designed to tell a survival story about a protagonist named you that is stable, capable, and in control even when you are none of those things. Every cognitive bias Kahneman cataloged is not a bug in this system. It is a feature. Confirmation bias isn't a failure to see evidence. It's a success at protecting your identity's narrative. The sunk cost fallacy isn't bad math. It's your psyche refusing to admit that the protagonist of your story made a catastrophic error. Kahneman's work exposes the faulty wiring. The unspoken truth reveals that the wiring is faulty by design because accurate perception is often less valuable to survival than a coherent, confident delusion. The core genius of thinking, fast and slow, is its elegant duality. System 1 is the impulsive, pattern-matching autopilot. System 2 is the lazy, logical supervisor. This model is so clean it feels complete, but it misses the most powerful cognitive agent of all, the narrative engine. This isn't fast or slow thinking. This is storytelling thinking. Its sole purpose is to take the chaotic, ambiguous data of your life and spin it into a coherent, cause and effect story with you as the central character. System 1 might see a frown on a stranger's face and flag danger. System 2 might logically conclude they're just having a bad day. But the narrative engine instantly creates a full screenplay. They're frowning because they disapprove of me. They disapprove because of what I said yesterday. This proves I'm socially inept. This engine operates in the gap between perception and consciousness. Kahneman shows us the heuristic, the mental shortcut. He doesn't show us the screenwriter that uses that shortcut to generate a personal myth. Why does this matter? Because your entire experience of reality is not a perception. It's a post-production edit. When you remember a conversation, you're not playing a recording. You're directing a historical drama based on your current beliefs, reshooting scenes to maintain narrative continuity. When you decide on a career move, you're not analyzing spreadsheets. You're choosing the plot twist that best fits the genre of your life story, the underdog's triumph or the principled stand. The unspoken truth is this: you are not thinking with two systems. You are dreaming yourself awake with a third narrator that prioritizes plot over facts. Understanding this changes everything. You stop asking, "What should I think?" and start asking, "What story am I telling, and who is it serving?" Kahneman masterfully documents how our predictions are terrible. We overestimate risks, misjudge probabilities, and are fooled by randomness. But he stops short of revealing the terrifying mechanism this creates, the prophecy loop. This is not just a bias. It's a self-fulfilling psychological prison. Here's how it works. Your narrative engine Force 1 creates a core belief about yourself. I'm not a math person. I'm unlucky in love. I choke under pressure. This belief is not a neutral observation. It is a prophecy. System 1, seeking to confirm this prophecy to keep the self-story coherent, then unconsciously guides your attention and behavior. It highlights every failed equation, ignoring successes, sensitizes you to every rejection, overlooking connections, and amplifies anxiety during key moments, creating the choke. System 2, being lazy, accepts this curated evidence as proof the prophecy was correct all along. The loop is sealed. The belief creates the reality that validates the belief. Kahneman gives us loss aversion. The pain of losing $100 is greater than the joy of gaining $100. The unspoken text reveals the deeper law. The pain of violating your own self-narrative is greater than the pain of losing anything external. You will cling to a failing business, a toxic relationship, or a false self-image, not because of sunk costs, but because letting go would mean your internal narrator has been telling the wrong story for years, a psychological death your brain will avoid at all costs. This is why cognitive behavioral therapy works. It's not just correcting biased thoughts. It's giving the narrative engine a new, less limiting script to enact. The most profound implication of Kahneman's work is the death of the rational, unitary self. Yet, the book still speaks of you making decisions. The final unsaid force destroys this last illusion. There is no singular you. There is a hidden council. Think of your mind not as a kingdom ruled by a conscious king, system 2, but as a feudal council of ancient, competing subsystems. One subsystem cares only about social status, worrying what others think. Another cares only about immediate calorie acquisition, craving sugar. Another is a hypervigilant security guard scanning for threats, anxiety. Another is a librarian maintaining your life story, the narrative engine. Kahneman's System 1 is the chaotic output of this council arguing. System 2 is the council's press secretary, tasked with inventing a logical-sounding reason for whatever decision the council has already reached through internal bargaining. When you choose a salad over a burger, it's not willpower, it's the status subsystem wanting to be thin temporarily, allying with the long-term health subsystem to outvote the calorie acquisition subsystem. The press secretary system, too, then tells you, "I made a healthy choice." When you procrastinate, it's not laziness. It's the security subsystem fearing failure, forming a coalition with the calorie conservation subsystem, avoiding effort to veto the achievement subsystem. The press secretary says, "I work better under pressure." The unspoken truth is, free will is not the king issuing decrees. It is the messy, chaotic process of coalition building among neural factions you did not elect and cannot fully control. Your consciousness isn't the decision maker. It's the spectator and spin doctor. This explains why you often feel conflicted, why New Year's resolutions fail the coalition that made them dissolves, and why understanding your biases doesn't stop them. You're not fighting a habit. You're trying to negotiate a permanent new political alliance in a parliament of primal instincts. Kahneman published his book in 2011, before the age of algorithmic governance. Today, we live in the world his research built, a world where Silicon Valley engineers studied his biases to build systems that hack them. Social media doesn't just use the availability heuristic. It weaponizes your narrative engine by flooding it with curated plot points that shape your self-story. You are a victim. You are an activist. You are missing out. Recommendation engines don't just appeal to your preferences. They map and manipulate the coalitions in your hidden council, feeding the calories subsystem with junk food content while silencing the long-term health subsystem. The greatest danger is no longer our innate irrationality. It is outsourcing the governance of our hidden council to external algorithms. We are letting black box systems perform coalition management for us, reinforcing certain subsystems' outrage, vanity, fear until they become permanent ruling parties in our minds. Kahneman warned us about our internal biases. The unspoken crisis is that our internal politics are now being rigged by external machines. So, what is the path forward? It is not to destroy System 1 or to force System 2 to work harder. It is to awaken the observer. This is the potential hidden in Kahneman's scribbled System 3, the ghost, not a new tyrant, but a silent witness. The observer is the metacognitive ability to watch the narrative engine spin its tails, to notice the prophecy loops as they tighten, to sit in on the hidden council's meetings without immediately taking sides. This is not mindfulness in the vague sense. It is the specific, practiced skill of inserting a pause between the council's decision and the press secretary's announcement. In that pause, you can ask, which story is being written here? Which prophecy is being fulfilled? Which subsystem just won the vote? You don't control the council, but with awareness, you can begin to lobby. You can feed better evidence to the narrative engine. You can break a prophecy loop by consciously acting against its decree. You can strengthen the voice of neglected subsystems like your long-term vision faction by giving them more attention and evidence. Kahneman gave us a map of the prison. The unspoken key is that you are both the prisoner and the warden. The observer is the part that can learn the warden's routines and, eventually, plot an escape. If this decoding has unsettled you, if you feel the vertigo of realizing your mind is a parliament of ghosts, then you have felt the first tremor of true awareness. This is the mission of unspoken text, to find the missing chapters in the manuals of the mind, to expose the silent forces that script our lives. We've decoded the ghost in Kahneman's machine today. Imagine applying this lens to the books that define power, money, love, and meaning. Imagine seeing the hidden councils and narrative engines driving history, politics, and your own deepest relationships. This channel is a collective awakening, but the default world, the world of curated stories and algorithmic council hacking, wants to pull you back into the dream. To stay awake, you must take deliberate action. You must subscribe. Click that button and tap the notification bell. This is not passive consumption. It is an active declaration that you choose to see the machinery. Each video from this channel will be a tool for your observer, a lens to see the hidden scripts. Don't just learn about biases. Learn who or what is using them. Daniel Kahneman revealed that we are not rational. The unspoken text reveals something more profound. We are not singular. We are a chorus, often out of tune, telling a story to itself about a protagonist that doesn't exist as told. This is not a cause for despair. It is the beginning of true agency. When you realize you are not the king, you stop issuing feudal commands. You become a master negotiator, a wise editor, a compassionate observer of the strange, beautiful, and chaotic process that is you. The goal is not to kill the ghost. It is to give it a chair at the table and, finally, to listen. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll decode what modern stoicism doesn't say about pain and why your suffering might be the most valuable thing you own. Until then, watch the stories unfold, but question the narrator. Subscribe now.